Step 3, you grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. God, it feels like we just did this just a second ago. We are back and better than ever. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. Last week, we had Niraj Jafari deliver Microsoft Fabric, how to use Clone Table in your data warehouse. Then on Tuesday, we had our Azure Data Community Roundtable. On Wednesday, we released Microsoft Fabric import on-premise SQL Server 2022 data into Microsoft Fabric. And then on Monday, Daniel Taylor was back again with effortlessly geo-restore your Azure SQL managed instance to a different region. Second time's charm, right? So much to see.
So effortless the way you ripped that right out, man. That was awesome.
It was like I'd practiced it or something. So much to see.
At least
you don't want to miss a thing. If this is your first time finding us over at Tales from the Field, give us a like and give us a subscribe. We are live and streaming on our home for Tales from the Field on our broadcast channel over on YouTube. Want to interact with the show? It is so easy to do. All you need to do is make a comment on our live YouTube feed, and one of my amazing co-hosts will see that, and they will add it to the screen, and you will be a part of the show, able to interact with us. Speaking of those amazing co-hosts, let me introduce them. I am joined by Daniel Taylor, Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, and he's like that perfect strong cup of coffee first thing in the morning, wrapped in a hug from your best friend. It's your friend and mine, Niraj Jafari. Quick call to action. We want to make sure that you are actually a part of the Azure data community. So one of the things that we want you to do is we want you to head over to Microsoft.com to the SQL Server community. And it's not just for SQL Server, it's for the whole Azure data community. One of the things you will find is you can look and find your user groups in your local area. There are so many different user groups that you can be a part of. You want to make sure and go and get involved today. We also have a bunch of free conferences that are put on. You get Microsoft folks, you get MVPs, all kinds of wonderful speakers from the community, creators in the community there. Oh, and I'm not sure what happened to the music, but we're just going to keep going. For example, head over to SQLSaturday.com, where we have a lot of wonderful events. One of the things I would highlight is SQL Saturday Orlando, October the 7th. I know that some invites went out. I'm going to be there. Dan Taylor's going to be there. Buck Woody's going to be there. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. But these are free events, free training that you can go and participate in. But don't just head over there. You've also got a wonderful site in datasaturday.com, where you have Data Saturday events, and you have Johannesburg coming up on August the 5th. You've got Cape Town, you've got Durban, you've got Oslo. You've got so many wonderful things happening internationally for the Azure data community. So many chances to interact. Andreas, wow, what a month we just had. Today is August the 1st. Hey, Jim, good to see you there, buddy. And Dan. What a month we just had. We've been breaking records all over the place. We had 7,000 views last month and nearly 400 watch hours on our content. And that's just mind-blowing. But now it's August and we're getting towards the end of summer. What are you excited about?
Oh, I'm excited that we're breaking records. You know, I don't think astronauts can hold up against the record setting that we're doing. SpaceX, you know, we're breaking records. No, but it's really, I'm really happy with all the great work we're doing internally. I'm having a great summer. I'm sad that it's halfway over, but the weekend's almost here, and I have some good plans. I'm going fishing.
Oh, yeah. No, that sounds good. That's some nice quality time. So if you catch something, are you deep sea fishing? Are you fishing off a pier? What do you normally
Deep sea fishing.
catch? All right. Nice.
So
that's
when
cool.
I'll bring the picture in, and I'll give you guys a taste of what you could have had if you went on the boat with me.
Well, I was going
to. I'm a terrible Floridian, though. When I go out on the boat, I get seasick. So, yeah.
Okay.
I love boats. I've only been seasick once in my life, and it was because somebody convinced me to take Dramamine before I got on a boat. And one of the side effects of Dramamine is nauseousness. And I was like, what is this?
Whoa. Wait. I never knew that. Dramamine side effect is nauseousness?
If you I guess if you are
It's like
allergic
taking milk
or
of magnesia, and it says one of the things
side
that
effects,
you get diarrhea. Yeah, it's like,
exactly.
or
I know,
constipation
right?
or something.
Look,
No,
the side effect of every drug these days is death. It's like they're like "Da-da-da-da-da-da-da," and death, and you're like,
Well,
oh,
what?
yeah, they list everything.
I was going to say that's the side effect of living, right? You can't take life too seriously. Nobody gets out alive.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so speaking of things that we should take seriously, we should seriously look at this amazing content that has been produced by the Azure data community. First up, I have Mr. Niraj Jafari with an amazing entry. Create Azure OpenAI LangChain Chrome DB Chainlit chat app and container apps using Terraform. That's a heck of a tongue twister. Niraj, what do we got here?
I mean, a lot of things in one thing. So that was like something that just got my attention to it. But very well written by our good friend Paolo. I mean, it just basically gives you how to integrate all this stuff using the Python in it. And then what he does is, I mean, if you start building it up, there is a prerequisite. He's showing it up. He's also showing you a good architecture diagram to understand what exactly is going to build up using this whole thing, which was really nice to understand. I mean, and then he goes one by one steps, showing infrastructure Terraform modules that you need to install in your machine, which applications you need to do it, and then how to create your Azure container apps, your Azure OpenAI services, and then vector databases that he is putting it together. The best part of the whole article, I mean, as Paul always does, is right. He just goes in details with step by step in there, which is really good. I mean, all his articles, he just goes step by step, every single details of it, which really helps you build the whole environment using all his steps.
Well, and I just looked at how long this is. This is amazing. So literally, if you are looking to be able to gain experience in being able to, and he says up front what we're doing, right? We're uploading a PDF or a doc to be able to have it analyzed. We're sending it over via LangChain agent, via Python to be able to have it analyzed and get input back from it. I mean, this is something that I could see being incredibly helpful, but also if you're an application developer, or if you are looking at how you take semi-structured data and how you pass it through to be able to have some type of analysis done in an application, I can think of a lot of cool things we could do with this. This is a great article, incredibly detailed. Well done, Paulo. Hey, Belkis. I wonder if you'll have any effect. I was going to say, here's hoping, right? We're hoping that we improve Microsoft stock price. We'll see if the trend continues. But
I say if it happens, we need to figure out how to add a new graphic in like the corner that is just the Microsoft stock ticker.
Yeah.
Because if it happens again, it's like, okay, now we need to actually see it happen.
Well, I think the more important thing we need to understand is what hats was Josh wearing when the stock went up. Maybe there's a trend. Speaking of wonderful and amazing trends, I'm going to point to one of our fast track colleagues, Lilium Lenny. Thank you. Lilium has a fantastic blog on the Microsoft Fabric blog, mind you, in cooperation with the Microsoft Fabric product group. Fabric changing the game, OneLake internet integration. And one of the things that we were actually discussing with our good friend Buck Woody just the other day is one of the core foundational elements is really the data lake and understanding how things work. And in Microsoft Fabric, it's OneLake. And you've really got to understand, how does OneLake work? And one of the great things is she goes through different case scenarios. She goes about how you copy data inside of OneLake. And then she gives you a good example, right? She starts with a basis that we all know really well: raw, silver, gold. How do I create my relative paths to these things? And how do I get this data in place? And she shows us how we can utilize these things via an API and command line so that we can begin to get it in. How we can copy data between lake houses and a warehouse should we actually want to be able to do the duplication. Of course, we could create a shortcut, but if you want your data to reside in both locations, you can also do that. A lot of great stuff, very detailed blog, really great example for people to be able to walk through. So definitely go and check that out. Let's see. Speaking of things that we want to check out, you got to keep your eye on this fella. He may end up getting the same link as you. I'm talking about Mr. Dan Taylor, who has the first entry of two by Sam this week. And Dan, you have a closer look at Microsoft Fabric pricing, billing, and auto scaling.
So you always talk about the catch, right? The catch, the getting you in. And first off, I love how Sam started. Fabric is free. So automatically you want to read and go, well, what's this fabric thing? But then Sam goes through the capacity, compares the different types of capacity we have within Azure. Azure, wow, all of a sudden I'm fancy. We have in Azure, breaks it all down here, and then goes through a bunch of I can't get out of my own way today. And then goes through and then goes through the different what is capacity within Azure. And then also towards the end of the article talks about how we smooth things out and how that smoothing is going to work within the fabric pricing. Also, I know that Niraj did a great video on this as well. So if you want to follow up this post, this was the cool part. Sorry, I forgot about this. The new metric that Microsoft launched up there where you can look at up above a little bit. If you could scroll back up for me. There we go. The new fabric capacity metric app. This is something I want to try out and maybe do a demo on, because I thought this was really cool because it gives a great breakdown of your fabric. So another a great article by Sam, and you're right, he's in here twice. And Belkis, next time I'm in the same area as you, you need to feed me dinner, because you're watching this show with us in the evening over there. So great to have you. Great to have Jim as well. So great to all have you here.
Thank you so much, Dan. And speaking of what we're thankful for, I am thankful that next we get some intelligent and wonderful and amazing insights from none other than Mr. Andreas Padilla, speaking about computer vision with Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services.
Dave Mason, thank you for this. I know this is an older article, but I had to put it out there because it is a great article on computer vision. He starts out with what we have in our computer vision API, how you can a basic demonstration, and he pulled on my heartstrings because he used MiG, F-16 examples, fighter jet examples. After I read this, Ghostwriter, the pattern was not full anymore. It was open. Okay. And then he moved on to how to take our Azure's custom computer vision and expand on a pre-built model so you could get that model, package it, and use it in edge scenarios. What I loved about this article is he encompasses all the major tools, the methodology. He broke it down to us in 5-year-old terminology. So kindergarten can explain this, can understand this. It's a great article for understanding custom and computer vision. Read this. It's definitely it's worth in gold. And it made my need for speed even more.
And we can hear the fan club in the background screaming for the article. I mean, it's just awesome.
I was going to say amazing points for a Top Gun reference. And I'm just blown away. Speaking of things that I am blown away by, I am constantly blown away by the amazing aptitude of this particular individual. And I'm talking about Mr. Josh Ludeman, and he's got comparing different school terms in Power BI for us.
Yeah, so this is actually from Marco Russo and Alberto Ferrari, the go-to, subject matter experts when it comes to DAX function development and all that, where they're actually walking through how to create basically your own time periods outside of a standard calendar year. In this case, they're doing, school periods, at least for us here in the US, that can usually run like September to June, August to May, something like that. But it's definitely not the full 12 months. It's off, can even run from specific dates. So what they actually do is walk you through how to build that out and then work it into your calculations to actually make it, basically a useful option and extending your existing date table with that information. So just, came across it, was something that they dropped, I believe last week or this weekend. And when I came across it, I was like, oh, yep, want that one. Because it's just a handy one to have in your back pocket.
No, I absolutely love this. And I got to tell you, it's something as we've been building our own analytics to take a look at things on Tales from the Field. One of the things I've gotten back into is DAX and Power BI. And again, they are just such a go-to when you're stuck or when you're looking for something, but covering these concepts that are really essential to know. So that way that we're all going down the right path as we're building these reports. Wonderful, wonderful
Well,
stuff.
in this article too, just real quick, there was, when I was doing, business intelligence consulting, there were a couple articles I always kept in my toolbox, so to speak, for building out a project. Like Dustin, Ryan, Brad, Dan. You both know Dustin. We worked with him at Pragmatic Works. Had a great blog post that I always kept in my, my toolbar up in the browser to pull it down real quick to create a date dimension. When I was creating a data warehouse. This is another one that I see as one that's just in the quick grab that you pull out real quick when you're doing anything with Power BI to create custom time periods. So definitely.
Good. And I was going to say, we were talking about wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, next up, I have Mr. Niraj Jafari, Data Factory Spotlight, Data Flow Gen 2.
So nice article by Miguel. Data Flow Gen 2 was just introduced. Is going over like now with all Fabric coming into the picture and ADF is up there. He's showing you how the Data Flow Engine 2 works here, right? I mean, he's giving an example how the Data Flow Engine 2 is working in there, and then he's also going us how does going in details how it's all operating in there, and then he's giving you how you can create a whole data flow step-by-step things to move the data from one environment, from your source to the data flow or your ADLF part of it. Nicely done. The best part, if you go at the bottom of it, that's where he's showing you step-by-step phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then if you go still down in there, it also shows you more of the architecture diagram, how so staging should be working. Like you can bring it to mashup engine, lakehouse, or staging area of it. So nicely done. Very detailed on it, also on it, and then try it out. Data Flow Gen 2.
Excellent. I love it. Good stuff, Niraj. I always enjoy when we get to talk a little more Fabric, and I love how active the Fabric blog is, constantly updating us with the latest information as we're getting weekly releases from that product, as we are in the march to general availability with Fabric. So excited for that. Speaking of other things that I'm excited for, I am excited for T-SQL Tuesday, and we have another great blog. This time, this is being hosted by Josephine Bush, who is also Hello Kitty, SQL Kitty on Twitter, and she's got a wonderful, wonderful blog. What do all the database job titles actually mean? And so one of the things that I would say is this is a great blog. She also links over to a blog that Kendra Little, another wonderful member of the Azure Data community, had posted recently talking about these, but she talks a little bit about her misconceptions. And one of the things she wants to understand is, from your point of view, what do these job titles mean? What do they do? And I couldn't help but look at this and start thinking, look, last time we tried to get this together and it was my bad. I think I had too much going on. We didn't get the post put together, but we should do a collaborative post that we can get out there to be a part of T-SQL Tuesday this time, because I couldn't help but look at this and think probably the most important responsibility that ends up going into all of those, the thing that led me to other jobs, was understanding the business, and how understanding the business and being able to relay business concepts to technology actually really help parlay between the two. But this invitation is out there. If you are looking for a way to get involved in the Azure Data community, if you are a blogger and you're going, hey, I want to be able to get involved, but I don't know how to be able to get a part of this. This is a wonderful thing. All you have to do is have your post put together, posted on the internet, and then you go to the comments of Josephine's blog, you put it in the comments, the link, and she will write a wrap-up blog with everybody in there. And it is a wonderful, very easy way for you to dip your toes in the water of participating in the Azure Data community if you are a creator. All right, so next up, I have, I didn't really do a transition, right? I should come up with something. So I'm just going to say, we need to transition. So we need to have a marvelous transition. And speaking of someone who is absolutely marvelous. I'm thinking of someone who has probably one of the most marvelous beards I've ever seen before, Mr. Dan Taylor. You have how to rename an Azure SQL database.
Yeah, so this article, short and sweet, was working with a large university, and they said, "Can I rename an Azure SQL DB?" And I was like, "Sure enough, you can." And I was like, "Okay, let me find a short and sweet article for them." And believe it or not, when I Bing this was the first thing that came up. Rather than our Learn documents, this came up. So I was like, you know what? Bingle is a thing. It was a great. You can rename your data Azure SQL DB through SSMS. You could do it through Azure Data Studio with T-SQL. You could do it through PowerShell as well. And the reason why this came up was because when you restore an Azure SQL DB, if you've got one of that existing name, we can't do what we normally do as a DBA. We can't do a replace. We have to restore it as a different name and then do some shuffling around so we can get back to that state we want to. So it was a great article. Short and sweet.
I was going to say, speaking of great, not short and sweet, but speaking of great, I am talking about greatness in the next one, and it is Mr. Andreas Padilla, how AI-based drones work, artificial intelligence, drone use cases.
Sorry, Josh, I saw you prepping, but I had to take this one. It's all right, buddy. Great article by Vikram Singh Bisson. Thank you so much for this article. It not only helps us, what he does in the article is he explained to us how AI works within drone technology, how computer vision fits into it. He also introduced some necessary concepts like object tracking, self-navigation, obstacle detection, how all those are intermingled inside of a drone. And then he walks us through some of the most common or, commercial drone use cases, where drones can be used in urban management, farms, military construction sites. All in all, a very well-written article that tells you about the technology, the major terms, major concepts, and then the use cases. I love it.
This is a great article. Also, I like great beard as well. But it was interesting because we kind of have some water, behind us. We live on a lake, and there was just a drone out here, and the commercial uses. So they're testing for FEMA flood levels, and it was a beautiful drone. I'm like, I want that drone, and they were like, no, you can't have it. That's like a $20,000 drone. But commercial use, no drone for you. But yeah, great. Well, I'm looking forward to reading that article.
I was going to say, our good friend Josh Owens. Josh, great to see you there. He said we need more Joshes on the call. Josh,
I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree. We had like 7 Brads at Pragmatic Works. It would be nice to have and then only 2 Joshes there. So.
Well, I mean, it's the right ratio. It's the right ratio. But I was going to say, Josh is like cowbell, and you know what? I got the blues, and the only thing that is the cure for the blues is more cowbell, is more Josh. You got to have more Josh. That's right, baby. I need some Josh. And so next up, we have
with
Mr.
head or
Josh
without head?
Zuderman.
Let's find his doppelganger.
Is it with head or without head?
Well, and I was going to say, so, and I love this because this is Robert Kane, Arcane Code. And Robert is a good buddy of mine. When we were both MVPs before I joined Microsoft, I actually roomed with him. It's one of the funnier stories that I probably cannot tell on the air. But anyway, we had a great time as roommates. He's a wonderful dude. And you have fun with SQL windowing functions, row_CumSum.
Yeah, and Robert's been doing a lot of blogging and even Pluralsight courses lately on KQL, covering Azure Data Explorer, but also the KQL language, writing Kusto queries, and that sort of thing. This is another great article in that package, but I really just wanted to highlight, as you can see there in his top posts, there's a good chunk of them that are all about KQL. And if you have any questions about PowerShell, Robert has a great informative blog here. And as you'll see with this one, he goes step by step right through, has other blog posts that he refers to with good process, good background, really just a great thing, and walks you through writing the queries, how to use the functions, and then using the windowing functions, in this case, bucketing them together and really doing some great stuff there.
Well, and it's for cumulative summarization, which is what it is short for. And he gives a wonderful tip on resetting the cumulative summarization if you need to. He gives a really nice real world example. And I love it that you said this, Robert. So Robert actually gave me a shot to be on my first Pass Summit pre-con ever. He and myself and Jason Strait, we all participated in a full day of PowerShell. And again, what a generous man in the community. Robert didn't need me to come in there and do anything. He could have done a full day on PowerShell in and of himself, but he was just helping to raise others up, which is a great and wonderful thing that people do in our community, just as a habit. And so great human being. And I'm really glad that we were able to have him on the show. And I love the stuff he's doing. And also, if you're on Pluralsight, go check out Robert's Pluralsight courses, because he's got a lot of good stuff over there. Speaking of good stuff somewhere, we got some good stuff right here. And that good stuff is Mr. Niraj Jafari. And next up, I have creating, managed, and external support tables in Fabric Lakehouse.
So, in a great article, Arthur goes over, first he explains what is managed tables versus external tables. So managed is the internal tables in Spark, unmanaged is the external tables in there. He shows you the differences, what really is managed and what really is external tables in Spark. And then Fabric now, as you know, Fabric supports a lot of things now. So Fabric now supports managed and external tables in the Lakehouse. Shows you how to do it, how to set up the whole prerequisite on the Lakehouse side of it, and then create the managed and unmanaged part of it in your Lakehouse databases with examples in there. So something that you can definitely create it up. Probably I was thinking a video in the future on something like this might also help it out, saying how to create managed and unmanaged external tables.
I was going to say, you read my mind. I'm literally looking at that thinking that is perfect for a video. We should absolutely, that is a wonderful topic to be able to do. Talking about another wonderful topic, I'm up next with the second of two blogs from Sam Darren, how to use service principal authentication to access Microsoft Fabric's OneLake. One of the things we talked about earlier was how OneLake is just foundational overall as a concept and as a feature. Everything that you do within Fabric is going to utilize your OneLake in one way or another, or really to revolutionize some of the power and utilize that. You're going to need to use direct lake concepts with Power BI, which are enabled using OneLake. And so one of the things he talks about is he shows us how to be able to enable this feature to be able to make sure that we've actually got the capability for users to be able to access data stored in OneLake with apps external to Fabric. He then walks through granting access to a service principal, making sure that they have the level of access that they need, talking a little bit about the admin controls, the different permissions that you have, but also an example using Python to be able to grant access. So wonderful stuff here. I was going to say, really excited that we found Sam. Sam was in the Microsoft Fabric Learn group that we have over on LinkedIn. That's also in the header of the description. Every single link that you're showing, we've already gotten the description of this video. So even after this goes live, if you're looking for any of these links, just head right over there and you're going to be able to find these very nice and easy. Speaking of nice and easy, like a Sunday morning, next up, I have the smooth jazz man himself, Mr. Daniel Taylor, on save on licensing cost with failover rights for Azure SQL Managed Instance.
One of the most overlooked feature, I think, in managed instance right now, and it's out there, folks. So, and it's so easy. And I'm gonna be having a video that's going to drop here. I'm finishing editing on it, and I talk about the failover rights. But if you have a managed instance and then you have a secondary managed instance spun up within a failover group, you can use this failover rights benefits and save about 40 to 50% cost on your managed instances. And it allows you not only to have your primary instance, but it allows you to have your secondary instance in the event you need to fail over, in the event of a catastrophic event in one of our data regions. Look, things happen, folks. Weird times out there, so we could lose a data center, and you got to plan for that. You have to plan for that. And it goes the article goes through about how to activate it, some of the savings about that. And then the article finishes up with what you can do. And it's similar to what we can do with our Azure SQL, our SQL servers in Azure on VMs. You can do some of the same operations with this benefit activated. It's if you're setting up managed instances and you have a failover group, you need to enable this today. Go do it now. Well, after the show.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of things that you should do right now, you should be prepared to listen to the absolute execution of excellence of this next blog, which is going to be done by Andreas Padilla. 15 tips to become a better prompt engineer for generative AI. I need these 15 tips in my life, Andreas. What do we got?
Oh, before that, I got to commend you on your segues today. They were awesome. Good job, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay. Now about the article. Andy Beatman shows us 15 great tips for becoming a better prompt engineer. What I want you to do out there, all you beautiful Tales for the Field followers, open up OpenAI or go to Azure OpenAI, go to the playground, just copy and paste his prompts. But it'll start to acclimate you, and it'll show you what the advantages are, how they work. You'll learn this quicker by bringing this article up, bringing up OpenAI or Azure OpenAI, copying and pasting, and you'll see what he means. And you'll do it once, you'll remember it. You're off and running the next time you bring up Azure OpenAI. It's awesome. There's good tips on one-shot prompting, being mindful of your tokens, being concise, adding constraints to the prompt. There's 15 of them. Great examples. I'll put this. I'm going to mark this, pin this up, be using this again. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't wait to go through this. Sorry, Niraj, go ahead, buddy.
No, this is cool. I mean, this is all you can create through using the prompts. Yeah, cool.
Excellent. Well, speaking of cool, I can't help but think of somebody who, I was going to say, look, this person is the captain of cool. If they were a Picasso painting, they would be hanging in the Smithsonian, and there would be a line going around the block. Last but not least, it's your friend of mine, Mr. Josh Ludeman, with Chris Webb's BI blog. Love Chris Webb. Chris Webb's a great person. Exploring Power BI import mode through log analytics, part 3, throughput variations during a refresh.
Yes, so this is actually a 3-part or a third part in a blog series where he's actually using KQL to analyze the Power BI, there we go. My turn to tongue tie. Power BI refresh throughput. He did one post on, throughput at the partition level. And then the first post even got just basic detailed information looking at some of the extended events, including progress report current event. So this post is just the third in it, but he's actually going through and looking at variations in the throughput during the refresh schedule, diving into that, being able to pull that up, look at it. And again, using KQL, kind of a theme for me today is KQL, but I kind of, when I came across this one that Chris dropped this weekend, it was really good because, as you all know, I like, I tend to watch some of that management and administration stuff on the side as part of building some of these great solutions. And I was like, well, there you go.
That's an excellent article. And I have to just clarify something. The line at the museum was for the coffee shop, not for Josh.
I was going to say, wow, Dan has, he's a little ornery today. He's a little rascal down there, poking sticks up at Josh. I know, right?
That is honorary.
You better keep hiding.
Wow, I was going to say, I saw an alert, Dan, right after this meeting. You've got your one-on-one with your manager.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, those are the links that we have. Again, every single one of them is in the description of the video. So make sure to go down there, check them out. Wonderful job by all the creators within the community. We thank you so much for participating and for creating these wonderful blogs, that videos, everything that we get to be able to share today. Heading over to our wrap up, I want to make sure that we plug a couple things. We've got a conference coming up, Future Data Driven. Future Data Driven. I've got a session with my good buddy Josh Ludeman. Dan, you have a session. Niraj, you have a session. Yep. Grace, do you have a session at Future Data?
Yes, Andreas also has.
Oh, sweet. Hey, everybody from Tales from the Field has a session at Azure Data Driven. All 5 of us are going to be there. So you definitely want to make sure that you check that out. Just tested, created, and managed external Spark tables in Lakehouse.
Nice.
Just introduced. It worked like a Belkis. Oh, we love you so much, Belkis. Thank you so much. We love it. Oh, that's awesome. Love to see this work in action. There's the link right down there. Data-driven community. If you Google or Bing or Bingle, whatever you want to do, data-driven, Future Data-driven conference, you're going to be able to find this. They've got the speaker lineup. They just don't have the session listing posted, but it will be posted, and you will have the individual times to be able to participate. Speaking of places where you can participate, coming up at SQL Saturday Orlando on October the 6th, there is going to be a pre-con. Myself and Buck Woody, I believe Daniel Taylor and Josh Ludeman are probably going to be there as well. And we will be presenting a full day on Microsoft Fabric for the data expert. You definitely want to check that out. When the link is posted, we will make sure that we get that in the video lineup as well. So that way you'll have that in the description of the header going forward. And then it's here. Oh, I am so excited for coming up. And Josh, give it to me quickly. The week before Thanksgiving, where are we going to be?
You're going to be at the beautiful Live 360 conference on the luscious grounds of Universal Studios Orlando at the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort Conference Center. Yes.
Absolutely. We're going to be there. Tom LaRock's going to be there. Andrew Bursch is going to be there. Buck Woody's going to be there. I mean, you're going to want to check this out. We are going to have such a wonderful time. You've got the backdrop of that. Your hotel room key is a fast pass for the park. It's the week before Thanksgiving. Where else in the world do you want to be? We're decorated for Christmas. Bring your family down and let's go to the park and have some fun together. And then we can learn during the day. You're just going to be exhausted at night. You're going to have.
I think it's safe to say. Well, I was going to say, I think it's safe to say we're going to blow the roof off of Florida.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if we get that wrong, just sue Elon. I'm good.
I think we're going to need to fact check this. Elon is not involved in this show whatsoever.
No,
not at all. No. Thank God. But remember that on Wednesday, I'll be dropping some content. We're going to have some fun with real-time streaming analytics and perhaps the International Space Station. We'll see. And also next Tuesday, we have our Azure Data Community Roundtable. So if you are a creator, make sure and hit us up. Let us know about the content you are creating. We would love to highlight you and feature you on this show. Reach out to us on Twitter at Tales from the Field, Tales FT the Field, or on the YouTube channel in our comments. Also on LinkedIn, because all of us are over there quite often.
So I had a question. Do we have multiple Josh or do we have multiple Brad at Live 360? Who would win?
Well, I first off, I don't think it's a contest. But second off, Brad always wins.
There's only
Brad
one.
always wins.
Only one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that lineup is so hot, I just can't look directly into the. I can't.
I'm excited for it. All right. Did I forget anything else, folks?
Nope.
We're good? All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week out there. Take care of one another. Goodbye, everybody.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you.